You know, for almost 60 years, Star Trek has given us this incredible, optimistic vision of the future, right? A universe where we've beaten poverty, war, all of our prejudices, all under that famous banner of infinite diversity in infinite combinations. But there's this really fascinating irony, this kind of final frontier that the franchise has always struggled with, getting old. Star Trek's always been like a mirror for us, you know? Asking these big, tough questions about who we are and where we're going. But for all its forward-thinking ideas, did it maybe forget one of the most universal human things there is, and one of the deepest prejudices we still have? That's what we're going to dig into today. So, for most of its run, Star Trek didn't really treat aging like a normal part of life. It was always some weird external problem. It was either a bizarre disease you had to cure or some strange alien ritual you had to debate. It was never something that just happened to our heroes. No, it was an obstacle you had to solve before the episode ended. And you can see this shift perfectly if you look at a couple of key episodes. Okay, so in the original series, there's this episode called The Deadly Years. In that one, aging is basically a horror movie. The crew gets zapped by some radiation, and they just start falling apart, physically and mentally. It's a monster to be defeated. But then, jump forward to 1991 to The Next Generation. In the episode Half a Life, we meet a culture where everyone has to commit suicide when they turn 60. And all of a sudden, aging isn't a disease anymore. It's this deep, really unsettling question about society and ethics. The conversation totally shifted from biology to philosophy. Then 2020 rolls around, and with Star Trek Picard, everything changed. The franchise did something, honestly, pretty radical. For the very first time, it didn't just do an episode about getting old. It built a whole show around a hero who was actually old, who was frail, and who was really wrestling with his own end. And boy, did the fans have some feelings about it. 79. That's how old Sir Patrick Stewart was when he came back to play Jean-Luc Picard. And this wasn't just some actor in old age makeup, you know? The show made his age a huge part of the story. His vulnerability, both physical and emotional, was front and center. This was definitely not the same invincible captain of the Enterprise D we all remembered. For a lot of people, this was just powerful. They saw themselves in it. They saw their own parents. This fan really nailed it, right? They said it was like seeing your own father, this pillar of strength, and suddenly seeing his fragility. It made the hero and the story feel so much more real. But yeah, not everyone saw it that way. For a lot of other fans, this new Picard felt like a total betrayal. They felt like their hero was made weak, that he was diminished. This comment here really shows you the other side of it. Fans who wanted that untouchable, commanding Captain Picard, not some guys struggling with getting older. It really split the fandom right down the middle. But you know, something else kind of ugly surfaced in all these debates, a really obvious gender bias. I mean, people were debating Patrick Stewart's age in terms of his character's strength, but his female co-stars, they got a whole different level of scrutiny. For them, it was so often about their physical appearance. It's just a reminder of that awful double standard in Hollywood where women are held to this impossible standard of never, ever aging. So all this intense debate really came to a head in Picard's third season, which was this huge, awesome reunion of the Next Generation crew. It was such a hit that it kicked off one of the biggest fan campaigns I've seen in a long time, a massive push for a new spin-off show called Star Trek Legacy. And the idea was just a dream come true for fans. It would pick up right after Picard, follow the new Enterprise G, and mix all these characters we love with a new generation. It was going to be the ultimate bridge between the old and the new. I mean, the petitions, the social media campaigns, they were everywhere. And for a while there, it really seemed possible. Fans were hopeful, the showrunner seemed into it, even the studio execs were kind of acknowledging it. But then, one of the franchise's most beloved stars came forward and just dropped a huge dose of cold, hard Hollywood reality on everyone. That's Marina Sirtis, Deanna Troi herself. She was at a convention, and she just laid it out there. Legacy is never going to happen. No vague answers, no corporate spin, just that. It was a gut punch for thousands of fans, but it's why she said it that's so telling. She said it wasn't about the story. It wasn't about the fan demand or the money. It was about something much simpler and much more frustrating, real-world ageism. She said flat out that no studio in America is going to greenlight a show where most of the main cast is over 70. It's just Hollywood. It's this brutal calculation that a show starring older actors just won't pull in the young audience that the studios and advertisers are obsessed with. And that right there brings us to the heart of this whole paradox. Star Trek, a story all about humanity getting over its petty prejudices, is made by an industry that, according to one of its own, is still completely in the grips of one. The irony is just wild. The actual term ageism was invented in the late 1960s. Think about that. Right around the same time the original Star Trek was first on TV, promising us a future where stuff like that was ancient history. And yet here we are, more than 50 years later, and that exact prejudice is being used as the reason a new chapter of that future just can't be told. So it all leaves us with this one last really tough question. Star Trek taught us to see beyond race and gender and even species. But can those amazing ideals actually survive a head-on collision with the way modern Hollywood works? Can a story that dreams about the 25th century really conquer a prejudice that's so baked into our 21st? Well, it seems that's still the final frontier.